In this video, I'm going to be sharing with you guys a summary and my own interpretation of Neville Goddard's teachings and what I believe to be the most valuable pieces of information in each one of his books. So this video is going to be the first part of a new series that I'm starting on this channel. And this video specifically is going to be me dissecting, talking about book number 1 out of 10. So book number 1 is called At Your Command, and I'm basically going to be making a playlist on my channel going through all 10 of his books. And I think I'll be calling that playlist something like Neville's book series. So be sure to listen to them all to get the full scope and the full summary of his collection. Hey guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. I'm Rosa, and if this is the first time that you're seeing my face, then welcome. It's so nice to have you here. Now, I want to give a few disclaimers before I start getting into the content of this video. And the first one being that obviously I'm not Neville. Okay, I'm my own person. I have my own experiences, my own interpretation of Neville's work, and I will probably bring back and reference different teachings and things that I've gathered along my journey, but I am not Neville, okay? I'm going to be sharing Neville's teachings through my perspective, okay? So I just want to point that out, get that out there. Then the second thing I want to point out is that Neville Goddard, amazing teacher, like I said, but he's not the God of your reality. You are. I always encourage and urge everyone to use their own discernment whenever listening to any other teacher, any other coach's wisdom or interpretations of life itself, manifestation itself, and always come back to your own inner wisdom that lives within you to see, what resonates with you, what do you want to take on as a belief system, and what does not resonate to you, and what do you not want to take on. At the end of the day, we are our greatest teachers, and we need to listen to that inner voice that lives within us. We don't want to worship teachers, right? We want to learn from them, learn what works for other people, and then integrate what we feel like would most benefit us in our own lives, right? I'm not claiming this is 100% truth, but I am claiming it is a truth, I believe that there are multiple truths that can be true in this life, and it's up to us, it's up to the observer to choose which ones we most resonate to and what we want to really take on, integrate, use in our lives, and how we want to, digest that information. And the third and final disclaimer I want to give is that I know this video is already getting super long and it's probably going to be very long. So I'm not going to be sharing every single point and teaching that Neville Goddard shares in his books. I'm just going to be sharing what I believe to be the most prominent, the most impactful and meaningful, and the things that really stood out to me and made a difference in my life. And yeah, what I just believe to be the biggest takeaways. All right. I'm also partially making this video as like a little summary for me to even, look back on if I want a refresher. Maybe you're coming to this video to learn about Neville's teachings. Maybe you're coming for a refresher. Either way, you're going to get what you need out of this video because I'm going to be doing just that. Now, without further ado, without further rambling, I'm going to get into today's video. Don't mind if I'm looking down because I had to take, some notes on the book because it's a big book. There's 10 books in this baby, okay? And I don't want to forget anything. So I got it written down here, so just don't mind if you see me occasionally looking down to see what I got written over here. So, gonna get right into Neville Goddard's first book called At Your Command. I organized this video by these contents as I'm gonna put on the screen. So I'm gonna go over each of these topics as he explains them in a little bit more detail. Now, let's start out by talking about the foundation that Neville Goddard states in his book. Now, this foundation is really, I would say, the foundation of Neville Goddard's teachings and all the books moving forward, and that is the topic of I am. So Neville Goddard starts out his book by sharing the underlying foundation of all of his teachings that he always goes back to, which is that man is the god of his own reality. He states that man decrees a thing in his consciousness and then has it come to pass. So really this is Neville's main teaching, is that we are the god of our reality. God is not some man in the sky that you ask to deliver things to you, but rather that we are, or rather our awareness of being, as we're going to talk about in a moment, is the god of our reality. Now, what is our awareness of being? Neville states that our awareness of being, or our I am, is God, and God is not a force external to you. It is through knowing your godly nature that you're able to manifest. So the I am is the part of us that just is. It is the energy force behind us, and it has no face and it has no form. Basically, our I am is our pure awareness of being. Now, a lot of Neville's teachings are biblically based, and in his books, he really tries to decode a lot of the misconceptions that are present in the Bible. He explains that the Bible is not meant to be taken literally, but rather it's supposed to be looked as a psychological drama and has a lot of symbology within it that everyday people can use in modern day to learn about the truth and essence of reality itself. I actually watched a video somewhere where I heard that Neville Goddard studied the ancient wisdom Kabbalah, which is something that I have been studying for a couple years now as well. I am by no means an expert. However, my parents have been studying it for about 35 years, so I was born into the wisdom of Kabbalah, and I heard about it and its teachings for my whole life, basically. So that's really the foundation upon which a lot of my content actually stems from. Like, it's the foundation of, the wisdom that I personally have. I found it really interesting to kind of have that parallel with Neville. But yeah, now in the Bible, Jesus declared himself to be one with God. And a common quote in the Bible is, "For the kingdom of God is within you." So Neville basically states that Jesus himself was able to tap into this I am essence that he's talking about, where Jesus rose in consciousness to a state where he became conscious of his pure beingness, of his godly nature that lives within him and that lives within each of us. Now he says, when you know that you're the God of your reality on this level of consciousness, you automatically transcend limitations, because limitations are not of God, they are man-made. Then he talks a little bit about what is commonly known as self-concept, but he doesn't really call it self-concept. Now, in page 11 of his book, he says, your opinion of yourself will determine your expression in life. And then he also states that man's world in its every detail is his consciousness outpictured. So now we get to the part where Neville starts talking about manifestation. So Neville states that we change our expression in life by taking your attention away from what seems so real to the senses, and then you rise in consciousness to being that which you desire to be. So in order to manifest, you have to realize that you are the thing desired, and you are not separate from the thing desired. So he gives an example of, before you have the evidence of health, you must feel yourself first to be healthy. Manifestation follows the feeling of already having and being the thing that you desire to be. So basically what he's trying to say here is that instead of stating, I want to be healthy, for example, right? That's the state that you desire. If you want to manifest health, instead of saying, I want to be healthy, you would say, I am health. I am healthy, right? I am being the consciousness of being, the very beingness that you are, the awareness that you just are, that you exist, that you are an energy form that exists, and healthy being the state that you want to now acquire. But when you say I am health, what you're basically saying is that the I am part of you, your awareness of being, and then health, which is the state that I am wants to now obtain, the two merge. The I am and the health merge together and become one. So when the I am and health merge to become one, what is happening is these two forces, the I am, your consciousness, and health, which is the state that you wish to acquire, I am health, when they come together, when the I am realizes that it is health and they become one, what happens is it births a metaphorical child, which is your manifestation becoming present in your 3D reality. But what must come first is the consciousness that you are health. The consciousness of being the thing desired must come before your desire becomes manifested in your 3D world. You will always get proof of what you are conscious of being. So what we want to do is we want to become conscious of being great. We want to become conscious of being wealthy, of being healthy. Because once we become conscious, bring our I am awareness to the level of health, of wealth, of amazing qualities, inequality that we want to obtain, we need to already feel like our awareness of being, our godliness that lives within us is already that. Once you can claim these attributes with conviction and truly feel as though you are the thing that is desired, once you're convinced, once you are convicted, it will then be yours. And this is what Neville is stating that manifestation is, right? Really simply put, if you were to end off this video right here, this is really all you need to know. You need to claim yourself to be the thing that you desire to be right now and feel so strongly with conviction that what you desire to be is already here. And once you feel that what you desire is already here, that's when the 3D reality is going to catch up with you and you're going to see changes in your external world. Now, the next topic that we're going to be talking about is prayer. Now, Neville Goddard states that prayer is not what man thinks, which is begging God for a miracle, right? In page 8, he gives the example that praying in the traditional sense is as if it's praying in vain. Because, to quote Neville, he says, to be conscious of being poor and to pray to God for riches is to be rewarded with that of which you are conscious of being, which is poverty. So basically, what he's saying is, if you are currently in a state of poverty, if you are currently in the mindset of being poor, then when you are reaching out to a theoretical God that lives outside of you and asking to be rich because you feel the lack of being poor, basically what you are saying is, I am poor. That is a declaration that you are making because you are the God of your reality. Because, as Neville states, God is not something or someone that is external to you. God lives within us. We have the creator power in this reality to create our outer experience through what we are conscious of being. So if you are conscious of being poor, then you're going to attract more of that state of being. So he says, for prayers, in order to be successful, you must claim that you are that which you desire to be, rather than begging to be rid of the state of being that you currently are. We must assume the nature of the thing that is desired and not question the how, just to be convicted that we are what we claim to be, what we desire to be. So understandably, this could be very tricky, right, to the logical mind. If I am poor, if I'm broke, if I don't got the riches, how can I just feel myself to have the riches? And I do speak about this in my other videos, how we can practically reprogram our minds to believe in our desired reality being the present reality. But one great way is through affirmations, because affirmations basically are just our thoughts, right? So our thoughts, when repeated over and over and over again, if we're constantly reaffirming ourselves to live in the reality that we desire to live in and desire to experience, that over time perpetuates our mind with the desired reality that we want to have. And over time, thoughts lead to our feelings. A big message that Neville Goddard states is that our feelings are the most important thing when it comes to manifestation. And we're going to go over that in just a minute. Now we're going to talk about secrecy. So he says that secrecy is the first law to be observed in realizing your desires. So he basically states to not tell people your desires, because the outside world, the 3D reality, is going to mirror back to you and echo back to you your present limitations and your present fears. So you need to get yourself to really believe your desire first, and then once it's manifested, everyone will know about your desires, everyone will believe in you. But Neville believes that if you tell people your desires, they're just going to echo back to you your current state rather than the state that you're trying to achieve. And I really resonate to this as well. You know, when I have a big manifestation that I want to develop a new state of being, I am a little bit more cautious of who I tell my manifestation to. Not because I don't trust the other person or because I believe they have limiting beliefs, but it's more so because I am not yet solidified in the new state of being. And if I'm not solidified in that state of being, and life is a reflection and everyone is mirroring back to us our current state of being, and our external world is a reflection of our current state of being, then if I don't yet believe that I'm in that new state, other people are just going to mirror back to me my current state rather than the state that I want to affirm. Now, in my experience, in my perception, this isn't a black or white, statement. You can have people in your life that you can tell your manifestations to that won't necessarily mirror back your limitations, especially if you have kind of relationships in your life that I do now, and I have manifested, beautiful friendships, beautiful relationships where I can say to the person, I am manifesting this specific thing. I don't want to hear back any limitations. I don't want to hear any fears. And we can talk about these things openly, and I say, you know, I don't want to hear back any limitations back on me. I'm just stating to you, this is my intention and my desire. Let's feed this desire together. Tell me about your manifestations. Let's feed it together, because two minds, two conscious creators are greater than one. So I have that kind of relationship with me and my friends. If you guys have that kind of relationship with someone in your life, beautiful, share it with them. Like, don't let this limit you. You know, this is just Neville Goddard's interpretation. This is just Neville's experience, of course. And, you know, with a lot of people, I honestly agree that we should be careful about who we tell our manifestations to. Either that, or we come with the consciousness and the understanding that if I'm going to tell this person this thing, then I have to know in the back of my mind that even, no matter what they say, even if they respond back to me in an undesirable way, that's okay, because I am aware that they're just going to reflect back to me my current state of being. We have to know this about everything, that everything is a reflection of our current state of being. And that is, you know, the main message of Neville Goddard here, is that our life, our manifestation, is a reflection of our current state of being. If we want to change our current state of being, we need to actively reprogram our mind to live in this new state, to transform and embody this new state, which sometimes takes time. To shift states takes consistency, persistence in reaffirming the new story and feeling consistently like you are living in that new reality. Now, the next thing that we're going to be talking about is overcoming limitations. So on page 11, Neville states, "You cannot take with you into the new consciousness any part of the old man. All of your present beliefs, fears, and limitations are weights that bind you to your present level of consciousness. If you would transcend this level, you must leave behind all that is now your present self or conception of yourself. You do this by taking away from all that is now your problem or limitation and dwell on just being. That is, you silently but feelingly say to yourself, I am." And then he states, as you move away from your limitations and you focus on the solution, you start to feel expansive. Now, when you start to feel expansive, don't be afraid. You are not going to die to anything, but the limitations will die as you move away from them. So basically, how Neville Goddard states that we can overcome our limitation in this life is by taking our focus away from our limitations and placing it into the life that we want to create, the state that we want to now embody. Now, I love how he says to not be afraid when you are pulling yourself out of your limitations and putting your conscious awareness into the state that you're trying to create. I love how he says it is accompanied with a feeling of expansiveness, because, you know, I've experienced this myself in my own life. When I take my attention away from my limitations and put it into the life I'm trying to create, it's almost like sometimes your limitations or your ego are trying to fight you so hard to come back to the old story, right? To be pulled back into your limitations, into your old way of thinking, into your past conception of yourself. It takes discipline sometimes. It takes mental strength to consistently bring your thoughts back in alignment with the reality that you want to create. We need to keep in mind that our ego is going to do the very best it can to keep us stuck in our limitations, but it is our job as the conscious creator of our lives, as that I am essence that he talks about, that creator essence that lives within us. You can also say your higher self. You could also say your soul, the nature of God that exists, that lives within each one of us. We all have that awareness of being that lives within us that we are able to use to have discernment on what we feed more energy to, right? Thoughts can still come up of the old story. That's okay. That's not what's going to manifest. What manifests is, are you giving those thoughts so much power? Using our awareness of being, the godliness that lives within us, how much are we feeding those old thoughts and those past limitations and that old story, versus how much are we consistently feeding the new story and reaffirming the life that we want to create, feeling into the life and embodying the version of us that we want to be. When we put our focus and our desire, we don't just want to just solely think the thoughts, we also want to feel the joy that comes with living the life of our desires. We want to completely shift our state. It's not just about getting the physical desires that we want. It's about feeling in a higher state of, we want to feel like our best selves, right? That is the goal of wanting to manifest anything, is it not? Is to feel happier, is to feel better about ourselves, is to fill the desire that we have for our life to be elevated. We have our desires for that reason. Now, I'm going to move on to the next topic, which is when he talks about the external world or the 3D world or reality as we know it. Now, he mentions a quote from the book of Numbers, which goes, "In that day there were giants in the land, and we were in our sight as grasshoppers. We were in their sight as grasshoppers." So he basically explains that this is a code for what is happening to us today. So he explains that the problems and the conditions in our 3D world around us appear like giants, and they make us feel like grasshoppers. And because you feel like a grasshopper in comparison to the quote-unquote giants, the problems in your reality, because you feel so small and powerless to the giants, the problems in your reality, you're giving your reality so much power. What happens is because you feel small, you feel powerless to your problems, the problems or the giants then see you as a grasshopper. But first, you saw yourself as a grasshopper to your problems, which gave them more power over you. So he's basically saying you can only be to others what you are first to yourself. If you view yourself as powerless, if you view yourself as a grasshopper and other people are on a pedestal, or your desires are on a pedestal, or they are separate from you, or they are beating you down, they are in charge of you, then you're giving them too much power. You are making yourself a grasshopper in the situation, and therefore you are making yourself a victim to the circumstances of the 3D world. But what he's saying is that you must revalue yourself by first feeling yourself to be the giant. You must feel yourself to be that powerful figure that has the power over your problems. Your external world does not have the power over you. You must take your power back to realize that you have the power over your external world. We do this by recognizing the godly nature that lives within us, by recognizing the I am presence that we are at our core. Something else that he states that I love is that every problem comes within it its own solution. If someone has a problem and that problem is lacking money or being poor, being in poverty, the solution is built within that. The solution is wealth. If we are sick, the solution is health. If we are in prison, the solution is freedom. If we are depressed, the solution is happiness. So he basically says we need to begin to feel yourself to be the solution rather than feeling to be the problem. Feeling to be the problem is to keep yourself stuck in the reality of the problem. Once you feel that the solution is natural, like you are the solution, the prison bars will naturally dissolve. So this is tough, right, for a lot of the logical mind to hear, because our senses are our logic, right? We live in this physical body. We are run by our ego, we're run by our senses, and our senses are telling us right now that we have all these problems. So basically what Neville's saying, without really saying it, is that we need to be delusional, right? We need to persist in thinking that we are living in our desired reality, living in that mentality despite seeing your physical world reflecting back to you something different. And that's where the hard part is in manifestation. That's why it's hard for a lot of people, is because our egos, our senses are so strong. And that's normal. That's obviously what we came into this world. We came into this world with our lenses. We were taught growing up to trust our senses rather than trusting our imagination. Therefore, we're programmed to not trust ourselves, to not trust our inner knowing, our inner intuition, and our inner world more than our external world. We're taught to trust our external world more, right? That's our natural way of being as human beings. But it is possible to change our programming and view ourselves as the creator, to take back our power, realize that we're not victim to life, we're not victim to our senses. We have power over the 3D world. We have power over our senses. It just takes time to get ourselves to that state of truly having such a strong conviction in the power that we truly are. Our world is what it is because of our current level of consciousness. It's truly such a simple concept, and it really boils down to just that. But, human beings like to make things complicated and label everything. But that really is all there is to it, is that we need to get ourselves to the conscious level of feeling like we are the thing that we desire to be and to have. Now, like I said, our senses are very strong. We are all limited. We're all on different levels of consciousness as human beings, and it's meant to be this way. I really appreciate that he talks a little bit about blasphemy in his book as well. And in page 13, he says, "Man has so long worshipped the images of his own making that at first he finds this revelation blasphemous, since it spells death to all previous beliefs in a God apart from himself." So yeah, we are taught that God is this being external to us that gives us rules, that tells us what we need to do, what we need to be, how we need to study to be in religion, right? Religion is a very controversial thing. I mean, my personal beliefs on it is that the foundation of religion itself is beautiful. You know, religion has beautiful teachings, but it's up to the observer, up to the interpreter to really dissect it in a correct way. I truly believe that the Bible is full of codes and it's not meant to be taken literally, but I also believe that, you know, there are so many interpretations of the Bible, and I also believe it's meant to be this way. I believe that we're meant to have different views, different opinions, so we can learn from each other and then take what resonates and leave what doesn't resonate. Now, let's talk a little bit about feeling. Neville is very big on feeling, and he says that once you feel like your desired state is already here, is already yours, then it is yours, and time and space is just catching up. Great. Another thing he says that is really important for feeling like you are the thing desired is to have gratitude for receiving the thing which has not yet appeared to your senses. He also mentions that he believes that this is an inward job. This isn't necessarily something that you do externally, like you don't need to, you know, speak out loud, you know, your thanks or give your gratitude out loud, but rather he says it's an internal job, which, you know, I mean, I think either way is beneficial, but for sure, you know, it needs to be felt. It needs to be something that is processed by our emotions, which can be done through our mind and then eventually felt, right? We need to consciously feed our minds in order for it to go down into our feeling state. So I think that both are very important. Sorry guys, my camera just died, so if there's a little bit of an angle change, that is why. Okay, so next, let's talk about forgiveness. Now, Neville states that forgiveness is not for an external God to forgive you or to be pleased with you, but rather because our consciousness is God. On page 16, he says, if you hold in consciousness anything against another man, you are binding that condition in your world. But to release man from all condemnation is to free yourself so that you may rise to any level necessary. Basically, he's saying to take responsibility for everything in your external world rather than placing blame on another man, on a circumstance, anything outside of yourself, because everything is a reflection of the internal. To blame something outside of yourself is to not realize your creator power. Everything is just reflecting back to you what you are conscious of being. So in other words, everything should be taken as feedback, objective feedback, that this is how you view yourself. This is how you view your life. If somebody's treating you a certain way, instead of blaming the other person that they are bad, that they are doing XYZ wrong, that they're not, you know, enlightened or spiritual, no, we need to view it as this person is reflecting back to me what I already believe to be true, what I'm already conscious of being to be true of myself and of this person. We must change ourselves within in order to see external changes. We cannot change things in the external by focusing on the external. Holding grudges doesn't do anything for us except for keeping us stuck in the current reality that we are experiencing that we don't want to be experiencing. Truth is, we're always going to blame others until you realize what you are, who you are, until you take responsibility that you create your reality. Now, he talks about the concept of right or wrong, and he says that to life itself, there is no right or wrong. The law is that it will always reflect your way of being, whether your way of being is favorable or not, right? Whatever you claim yourself to be is going to be reflected back to you, is going to be manifested back to you. The concept of right or wrong belongs to man alone. It's a man-made concept and it's a subjective view. Life, the universe, the godly aspect within us doesn't see things as right or wrong. It only abides by the rules that we get what we are conscious of being. In other words, it doesn't matter if we desire to be wealthy if we are conscious of being poor. We need to change our consciousness of being to believing that we are wealthy in order to attract wealth. We cannot be conscious of being poor and try to attract wealth by praying to God and saying, God, please make me wealthy. I really want to be wealthy, because what you're saying is, I am not currently wealthy. What you're saying is, I'm living in a state of lack. I do not feel like I am where I desire to be. Therefore, I need someone else outside of myself help, or a God in this case, someone that is not the power that I have within me. I need something else to change for me to get my desire. When that's working backwards, right? That's not how the law works. We need to first get ourselves to feel, how would we feel if we were wealthy? What would we do? How would we embody and feel and act Number one thing is, how would we feel, right? There's controversy between if you need to take any physical action or not in the 3D. It's a controversy that I'm not going to talk about or touch on right now, but the goal is to feel ourselves to be that wealthy person already, to feel ourselves to be whatever state that we desire to be right now. Then another thing he talks about, which I love this point, which is that there is no such thing as worthy or unworthy. If we know this law, if we understand that we are the God of our reality, if we understand that we have the power to achieve anything we desire, and then we also understand there's no right or wrong, and that life isn't taking sides with the people who are worthy and then not giving the manifestations to the people who are not worthy. It's not about being worthy. It's about getting yourself to believe in your desire. God doesn't pick favorites because you are God. God is you. You have a God that lives within you. Other people are not more or less worthy. You are the only person that is deciding if you're more or less worthy. If you feel like you're less worthy, guess that's your state. That's what you're going to attract more of. You must first feel yourself to be more worthy. Of course I'm worthy. Of course I'm worthy of manifesting my desires, because my desires come to me for a reason. Because that's just how the law works, is that I can declare something, decide myself to be a certain way, and that's going to be manifested in my reality. Life doesn't pick sides on what's good or bad. Or if it was true that God would stop evil things from happening in this world and being manifested, then that would happen. But the thing is that while we're here on earth, humans have the power. Humans are each the gods of our own reality. This can be used for good or bad. Man can unfortunately manifest negativity into this world because the universe and life itself does not stop manifestations whether someone is worthy of them or not. If things only manifested based on if we were worthy of them, then how could someone like Hitler, manifest such a tragedy in this world? Clearly that is a desire that is so beyond unworthy from a human being's perspective, But because the way the law works is that us as human beings, we're manifestors regardless, right? So we need to, make sure that we're using that manifestation ability to improve our lives, to improve the lives of the people around us, because we have that kind of power. Imagine everyone knew the power that we had to create worlds. Everyone would be able to be abundant. Everyone would be able to live a beautiful, equal, loving, happy life. And we're able to create this new earth. And I believe that Eckhart Tolle talks about this in his book, A New Earth. It's called A New Earth. I haven't read it in a couple years, but I believe it's a similar concept, which is that in our consciousness, if we're the creator of our reality, we get to create a new earth by thinking of the earth in a more positive way, by taking, of course, the necessary actions that it takes to build this world up and manifest a new earth. If we really realize the power that we held, we could collectively shift the collective consciousness to a more desired state. Now, went on a little tangent there, but gonna leave it in because these things come out for a reason, Now, I'm going to talk about desire next. Now, Neville states that desires are You're so cute, Mrs. Rosie. Such a cutie. Okay. Neville states that our desires are a reflection of your current state of being. So, for example, if you are currently in a state that is poor, your desire is to have riches. So whatever your current state is, you're going to have desires based on the level that you're at. If you are rich and famous, but you lack connection, then naturally your desire is going to be connection over riches because you are already in the state of having riches. And that's not what you lack. You don't lack riches, you lack connection. So your desire is going to be for deeper connection. You're always going to desire the thing that you are in the lack of, and that's what being a human is all about. Now, he says to not question our desires, not judge our desires, but rather to honor our desires and to reach them and to claim yourself to already be that which you desire to be, and then rise in consciousness to the level of your desires. This is what it means to change states. I love how he says not to judge our desires, because I think a lot of times people do that. For a long time, I had a lot of shame for wanting to change my physical appearance, for wanting to change my body, for wanting to lose weight, for wanting to have a glow up, because, I was told, love yourself as you are, you're perfect the way you are, you don't need to change. And while it's like, yes, that is true. Yes, we do need to love ourselves, but I believe the two can coexist. I believe we can love ourselves and where we're at and desire to change. And I think that is the sweet spot and the goal and the level that we want to get to with our desires. We're not desiring something because we hate where we're at. We're desiring something because we love ourselves and we want to improve our lives. This is my own commentary, by the way. Neville doesn't really talk too much about this, but this is just like my own like reflection on how this is, relevant in my life. We have our desires for a reason. I desire to look like my best self so I can feel like my best self, so I can show up on camera feeling confident in my skin, feeling good in my body, to go out to events, go out and meet people, go out and share my message with the world. That is my, reasoning. It doesn't really matter what your reasoning is. We have our desires for a reason, and it's to be manifested. It's enough of feeling like our desires are wrong. There is no right or wrong desire, as long as, this is a whole nother topic I do want to make in other videos. I don't know that Neville necessarily talks about this, but, there is a difference between our true core desires and desires that our ego has for like instant gratification, short-term desires that will not really give us lasting fulfillment, but rather our quick fixes, right? That's not the kind of desires that we're really talking about here. We're talking about the desires that our soul is yearning for, like connection, like love, like health, like wealth, right? Things that we need to survive and to thrive in this world and be the best version of ourselves. So don't judge your desires. Have faith that your desires come to you for a reason, for the sole fact of being manifested. And actually, Kabbalah, translated into English, means to receive. Lekabel, to receive. And so the whole essence of the teachings of Kabbalah are teaching us how to receive the things that we desire. We come to this earth, we have this human experience to receive the things that we desire. We are meant to live abundantly. This life is beautifully made for everyone to have an equal share of abundance. The resources are available for us all to have everything we desire. It is our natural birthright to have those things. Of course, egos exist. Earth is the way that it is. There is politics, there is government, there is greed in this world. But we can change it. And I'm a very optimistic person. I believe in the ability that we have as creators to create a more positive future for ourselves and for the world. But it does start with ourselves. It does, this is why I'm so passionate about talking about this stuff, because it's not just superficial, manifest because you want, to look hot or to have a lot of money so you can flex on people. Us realizing the creator power that we have is so much deeper than that. It's really about improving ourselves so that we feel complete, we feel whole within ourselves, we understand the power that we have first and foremost, and then we can share that with others, share that with the world, and improve this world and make this world a better place. If you guys are still watching this video up until this point, I want you guys to leave a little butterfly emoji in the comment section down below, and that way I'll know, who the real ones are, who's watching this whole video all the way through. But all right, let's keep going. Now, okay, so another thing that he says is that people fail to realize their desires because they're constantly placing conditions on them. He says to just accept your desire as it comes rather than being concerned with how it comes, because life has ways man knows not of. So because people don't believe in their desire's ability to manifest, or they don't believe that their desire is right, they place conditions and they place limitations on their desires. So there's just one more topic we're going to cover in today's video, then we're going to wrap it up. And this topic is on the topic of faith. Neville states that without faith, it is impossible to realize anything. We must have faith that once you declare what you desire, you've done all that's expected of you. Humans tend to want to take such strong control over everything in our lives. And we believe, because we live in the world of our five senses, and we believe that we need to do a lot of physical action in this world to see the results that we desire, what we do is we try to, that is actually conditioning our desire, limiting our desire from coming into fruition, because really all we need to do is have the faith that once you declare it, it will come. Ask and it is given, as the Bible says. Now, a lack of faith leads man to take such strong control over the outcome, as I just said, and he gives an example of this on page 22, where he gives the example of a man desiring to kill another man. He says that no man actually desires to kill another. What he does desire is to be freed from such one, but because he does not believe or have faith that the desire to be free from such a one contains within itself the powers of freedom, he conditions that desire and sees the only way to express such freedom is to destroy the man, forgetting that the life wrapped within the desire has ways that he as a man knows not of. Its ways are past finding out. That is on page 22. So basically what Neville is saying here is that if the man truly was able to raise his consciousness to a level above the problem, see himself being free of the problem, or the problem that he perceives the man to have in his life, whoever the person is that he desires to kill, or the problem that he thinks he is solving by killing a man, this is a result of the lack of faith in humankind. Because he believes the only solution to his problem is to kill, that he conditions this solution by taking an action. This is such an extreme example, of course, but he is taking an action that he doesn't need to take, right? If a man has faith in his desire being fulfilled, which is taking your focus away from the problem and into the solution, then he would have faith that his desire would work itself out. But because he doesn't have that faith, he believes he, as a man, is the only one that is in control of the outcome, so he must take a physical action to rid himself of the problem. Now, in a practical everyday sense, because obviously killing is an extreme example, we want to take action and control the situation because we don't believe that the universe that lives within us, the God that lives within us, that we have the ability within our own consciousness to achieve the solution without having to do the physical work. But we really need to have faith that we can be free of our problems and realize our desires without needing to condition or control. When we try to control it and take physical actions to try and control our external world, this is just going to take struggle and take a whole lot of effort that it does not need to. And he says that such efforts will be in vain. Now, I'm going to end off this video with the quote on page 26 that states, "The world is a magnified mirror, magnifying everything that you are conscious of being." So that really sums up the first chapter of Neville's book series and the book At Your Command. I hope that this video was super valuable to you, that it either gave you the refresher that you needed or taught you some new things. Hopefully my interpretations and my little summary and my perception on the different teachings and kind of bringing in my own teachings was valuable to you. Let me know in the comment section down below if you have any questions on anything that we talked about. As I said, I couldn't cover absolutely every single topic that Neville talks about, but rather the biggest things that I believe to be the biggest takeaways. I know this video was super long, and funny enough, this book is actually like one of the shortest books out of all of his books. So, I'm really gonna try my best for the upcoming videos to shorten them. I do hope you guys like it though. Maybe you can listen to it like podcast style. But yeah, I really hope that you guys got value out of this video. Like I said, let me know down below in the comments what was the most valuable thing that you got out of this video. Be sure to watch all 10 videos that are going to be coming out summarizing and going in depth on each book that Neville Goddard has. The next book is Your Faith is Your Fortune. So make sure to go head over to the playlist on the channel and watch all the videos. There's a couple announcements that I want to make. First and foremost, I actually, by the time this video is out, I believe in about a week from now, I'm hoping that by February 1st, I'm going to be done. But special announcement, I'm releasing a brand new ebook. I'm releasing a brand new ebook called Becoming a State Shifter. So that's super exciting. I'm going to leave all the details to that in the comment section down below. And just to leave you guys off with a final message, if you guys are interested in any one-on-one coaching with me, if you're interested in watching my free webinar on self-concept or checking out my brand new 4-week-long course called Life from Scratch, I have a birthday sale because by the time this video is out, my birthday's tomorrow, January 23rd. So you guys can use the code turning23 at checkout to get 20% off your order. Yeah, do yourself a favor, change your life in 4 weeks. Join me on the journey where I'll be able to support you and be there by your side to guide you through your 4-week-long transformation. I hope to see you in the course. If not, that's okay too, but I do want to have that offer out there for you guys. Thanks so much for watching this video. I'm going to end it off there. I hope you guys have an amazing day or night, whenever it is that you're watching this. Hit the like button, leave me a comment, hit the subscribe button, post bell notification button to get notified when I post a new video. I post videos every Sunday, Tuesday, and Thursday. And without further ado, I will see you guys in my next video. Bye! Love ya!